Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build two model kits. I'm going to finish a model kit. I'm going to start another one. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat because I'm also here to talk with all of you. If you're a subscriber, you can throw those emotes in there. If you're not a subscriber, but you would like to say hi with other emotes or you just want to say hello, feel free to do that now. And we're going to get started with the stream after this intro. This intro is the beginning of the stream, but it's not the real stream. Aristophan is here. Hello, Aristophan. We're giving a chance for folks to come in. Hopefully, we're going to get a few more folks joining us tonight. Who knows? Maybe this will be a real chill Monday. Hey, welcome. Livatronica is here. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you here on the old Bill with Bear. Um, Mr. Hadel is here. Welcome, Mr. Hadel. Happy to have you here. But yeah, this is the intro portion. It's a chance for people to come in slowly, be fashionably late, as they say. A chance for me to make sure all my equipment is working before I go ahead and start building. Because sometimes I'm like, this microphone's not in the right place, or oh, my audio is kind of wonky because I'm still figuring out how this whole thing works. All that kind of stuff. Or I forgot to turn my overhead light on, which happens on occasion. Um, I hope you're all doing good. I'm doing, hmm, I'm doing all right here on a Monday. I got up earlier than normal and did a bunch of errands, which are all good to do. I just realized I got up early, so I got to go ahead and turn my alarm for tomorrow back on because I turned it off because I got up early. So I just did that, so I didn't mess it up. Uh, but yeah, I got up early for me. Got a bunch of stuff done today. Ran some errands. Did some stuff around the house. Um, the moment I went to go mow the front yard, that didn't happen because it started to rain and did not rain for long, but it rained long enough that I did not mow the lawn, which was the one of the only things I didn't get to today. That is very annoying. Got a lot of internet done though. Internet is what I like to call my chores that involve sending emails or reading things or sending out resumes or replying to people, that kind of stuff. Got to get my internet done. Um, Aristophan making me feel very cool by comparison, saying got to 114 today in Portland. Yeah. Um, Obviously, those in the Pacific Northwest, or for our Canadian friends, the West. My deepest condolences for the current situation y'all are in, with just incredible heat and fucking. You call that fucking hot? Yeah, Aristvan, that is fucking hot. And of course, you don't necessarily have the infrastructure for that, and in fact, you have people who are like, don't run AC units because we you don't run them any other time, and your lease says you won't, so don't. Which is just ghoulish, is the word I would say. Yeah, I had the exact same situation yesterday. 10-minute rainstorm rained out my mowing plans. Yeah, I mean it just like came out of nowhere. It was just like, oh no, you don't get to do that. That's super fucking rough, man. Luckily in Dallas right now we got some rain, making it humid as hell, but at least not 114. Yeah, um, the main thing is the thing that we talk about here. Do have ACD, many don't. Yeah, many don't have air conditioning. Um, and many residents of the area of those areas are also not used to this kind of heat, so they didn't have anything to prep. Like some people have box fans that keep, for emergencies, or they have window units, like window fan units they keep, in different parts of the country. Like I didn't have air conditioning in New York, but I had a lot of different fans and I knew what to do about that. And then also, I would, on occasion, when it was brutally hot in the summer, sometimes I would go to a evening movie at the movie theater that was near me, just to get a lot of air conditioning at that movie theater, and then go home and immediately try to fall asleep, hoping that I would be cool enough before it got hot that I could like pass out. They had to close the light rail system because the rails were expanding too much. Yeah, part of the infrastructure failure is that it nothing is built with that heat in mind there. There are parts of this country, parts of Canada, parts of Mexico that are designed for that heat. Um, Oh, Mr. Hadel just subscribed with Prime. That's 2 months. Thanks for the chill streams and cool content on anime, gunpla, and power washing. Indeed. Thank you so much. Let's throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the moat in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thanks for using your Twitch Prime. I appreciate it. And yeah, welcome back to the streams. I gotta chat those icons. We are gonna get building in just a moment, but yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I have got friends in the Victoria area of Canada who are my friends today was just like too hot to stream. Gonna go to a place I know has air conditioning and be cool there. And I was like, yeah, you should do that. You should definitely do that. Um, uh, yeah, got quite a few friends that are just like running fans, box fans in the rooms with their pets, just trying to help out whatever they can do. A buddy of mine uh, basically took off her top mattress, like a top thing, and just put it on the floor and is sleeping on the floor because that is the coolest place in her apartment. Um, Lots of people doing the blackout curtain thing because you're with, and if you can do it, if you can do like even like try to reflect the heat out of the place, try to keep things dark in the rooms you're in, and if you can, do reflective materials to reflect the sun back out. Uh, People are just doing whatever they can do to make things work, and it sucks that they're in that position. Uh, yeah, climate change. It's real and it sucks. Um, I don't think I can ever go back to not having air conditioning in the summer because I didn't have it in New York ever, and I don't know if I could go back to that. I think I might be spoiled by it. Also, not having central heat instead of radiator heat is awesome because you don't have that background radiator sound, which was just infuriating. Um, and you don't have like, yeah, I mean, it does mean that some rooms are colder than other rooms, and it's hard to really regulate that. That is frustrating. Whereas but not having a window open in the winter because it's too hot in your room is kind of great. It looks like we're gonna have just a chill evening tonight. And I'm guessing it's just gonna be kind of a light night, which is okay. It happens. I think that's all right. Hopefully, a few more folks will join us. But I'm gonna retweet my tweet to say that it's time to get building. And let's finish up this kit because when we finish this kit up, it will be I will have accomplished something that is not incredible by any stretch of the imagination, but is fucking cool, and I'm psyched about it. Because we're working on this kit, the Jahannam. When we finish this, which is from Reconquista in G or G Reco, as we'll refer to it. When we finish this kit, I will have built a mobile suit from every Gundam anime. I've certainly built some from some video games and also from some manga, but this will complete all of the anime that is Gundam. I will have built at least one kit from all of them, and that's we're coming up on my 4 year anniversary of streaming, so it only took me almost 4 years to do that. I could have done it sooner if I had thought about it, but I didn't think about it. Uh, at a certain point, I was just like, hey, I wonder how many series I have left to build before I built all of them. And then I realized that was like two. And so I was like, oh, um, how many models do you reckon you built in total then? Ooh, Mr. Hadel, I would have to do that math is going to be hard. Um, so it's interesting because like for the past like 2 years, it's pretty easy to be like, well, um, I model kit build 2 hours a week or 2 hours a stream, 3 streams a week. So I can kind of do the math of like high grades, master grades, you know, don't count Lego sets. So you take Lego sets out. Like I can kind of do the math. When I first started, I for a little while I was doing once a week, and then I moved on to twice a week. So I did. It took me a little while to get into that rhythm, and then eventually I added three. But for mostly, I was doing twice a week, and then like a gaming stream. Um, so I would say I've built. Hmm, I want to say I've built 100 kits. I don't know. I used to do the math. I used to keep track, and I stopped. Now I could go through all of my streams and count because I do have everything archived. Hey, Lashbrook, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I have everything archived, so I could go in and figure that out. I have never done that. I did figure out how many death sites I built, which I believe the Love Lance will be like the eighth one because it's not really a death site, but it kind of is. But I think I've built like 8 death sites over the years. But yeah, it is interesting to think about like uh, and you only started doing Gunpla on stream. So, Mr. Hadel, I used to the story of me, and this is good to do because I haven't talked about this in a while, and it's good to not just not everyone is been here for 44 months like Lashbrook has. Some people haven't been here that long. So, my history with Gunpla is that I started building it in the 90s, in the mid 90s. I saw Gundam Wing, and I was like, oh, this is my shit. And I bought an action figure of the Death Scythe, and I thought that was very cool. And then I saw at the import store that they had model kits. And I had built, like, in my youth, I had built, mm, like, some paper craft stuff, and I had built some model kits, but like the glue always bothered me. And they're like, well, you don't need glue. You just need to snap the pieces out. And I was like, I could do that. Where do I start? And they were like, pick up one of these because this is the thing about Gundam Wing. One of the reasons why I got into Gunpla that made it easier was there were high grades in the 1/100 scale. They had they had a 1/100 high grade scale Death Scythe, and I picked that up. So imagine like the complexity of this, but bigger, which was just in easier, bigger pieces. Like, the legs might only be 7 pieces to put together. It wasn't that detailed, but you could do it, and I could do it. I say you, I mean me. I was able to pick it up very fast, and I got real into it. I started with the kits that I knew, and then I started branching out. And then I moved to New York, and I only took a few kits with me, and I had no money. So for many, many years, I didn't build a single model kit. Um, I was just done building model kits. I loved it to death, but I didn't have the room for them, and I didn't have the money for them, and I didn't have the time for them. So I got into other hobbies, I did other things. But I always thought about it. And then, as the story goes, which I will say, I got inspired to try again. I had wanted to stream for a while, but I was like, I don't want to be a game streamer. Everybody does that. I'm not great at concentrating on video games while I play. I could do it once in a while, but I don't want to do that every day. I have a little bit of an audience from PAX and from Twitter and from New York comedy stuff, so maybe I could stream something else. I'm not sure what that would be. And then I remembered that not too long before 2017, when I started, Austin Walker, who we'll talk a little bit more about in a bit, because Austin had some cool stuff to talk about. Um, uh, Austin had done a goof for Giant Bomb as if he was a Gunpla streamer or a Gunpla YouTuber. So it was like a fake video. I think, yeah, they were doing like that. It was like Jeff did like a cooking thing. Vinny did like, I think it was either a woodworking or a hunting thing. I can't remember exactly what it was. But the idea was that Austin was a Gunpla streamer, and I was like, oh, why don't I do that? Why don't I get like 2 webcams? I've got my laptop. I've got a mic. Uh, yeah, I should just do that because I had a built-in mic on my or built-in camera on my laptop, and then I just got a webcam and a tripod. I had a tripod and went and did it. I learned how to use OBS by watching YouTube tutorials, enough to get me going. It took me a long time to figure it out. I used my laptop at first because I wanted to. I didn't have good internet at home, so I was doing it at my work. Had lots of rooms for rent, and I would get into the room that had Ethernet, uh, and I used that, and I had a mobile setup, and I started doing that. And at first, it was just like an hour and change once a week, and then I was like, I could probably do this more because the thing that happened was two things happened. One, people showed up because they know me and they were excited to see what I was up to, or I got some retweets from people that were cool, that were like, "Oh, Pat's doing this thing. You should check it out." And then the other thing was happened was it only took me a month to get the offer to be an affiliate, which meant that I could have subscriptions or subscribers, I should say. And that was like, oh, okay. Well, if I'm gonna have subscribers, I need to do this regularly. I need to be accountable and like have a set schedule, and I need to stream a couple times a week, at least, because I want people to be able to do that. It's like, so I got a Patreon set up. I had my I got it set up here to be an affiliate, and then kind of was off to the races. And then eventually, around the time of 2019, is when I made the decision to add the third stream a week. I had a goal on my Patreon to unlock the third stream. Originally, that was an afternoon stream, and then I got laid off. And forgot to turn autofocus off, so I'm doing that now. Sorry about that, folks. And that allowed me to have the opportunity here to um, stream three times a week, and then actually one instead of monthly, which is what Wednesdays used to be a monthly stream. I made that every week, so that I could do uh, gaming, and like this Wednesday is not gaming; it's going to be my Pat Bear's Anime Club wrap up. It's mostly gaming, but it doesn't have to be. I've given myself the room to have uh, different things happening there. Like I said, so I'm gonna do my anime wrap up slash preview for the next season, because that's a fun thing I get to do. Because why not? Nobody's nobody's gonna stop me. They might not tune in because it's not their jam, but they're not gonna be like, oh no, no, sorry, Pat. Turns out you can't stream that. That's cool. Always fun to hear about people's entry and reentry points into the hobby. Yeah, so that was really what it was, and I missed it so much. Uh, I had been doing it. I did it for a long time, and then kind of got out of the habit of it. And then Lego, adding in the Lego component was a thing that I was very happy to do. But also Lego was a thing that I had not done in a very long time. I was very out of habit with Lego. Um, like the brick separator. I don't know when the brick separator became a thing that you get in big kits, but I never had a brick separator, so it had been a really long time since I did Lego, and that was very fun to add that back in. Um, we'll have a Lego set coming up pretty soon. A couple cool cars. That'll be a build in the future because Harold picked that up off my wish list, which was very kind of him. Um, but yeah, that's basically my origin story when it comes to this. I've loved going back, building kits that rebuilding some of my favorites, building a bunch of kits I never heard of. I hit the point where I ran out of kits for shows that I had watched, so then I just started buying kits that look cool and interesting, which is how I did like the Extreme Gundam not too long ago. That's from a video game I've never played because it's an arcade game that I'm sure there's a couple cabinets out here in the US, but I've never seen it. I just know that that thing looked rad and I wanted to build it. And that's a lot of what I do these days. And of course, if it's from Wing, I'll probably pick it up, especially if it's a Death Scythe, because I have a lot of fondness for that particular series. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Um, it's talking about Austin Walker, and we'll chat a little bit about friend of the stream Austin, who I have built did a little model kit building with, for one of their charity streams for Waypoint slash Vice Gaming's charity streams. Uh, it was a incentive if we could hit a certain goal when I was hanging out. Um, I brought some stuff because the very first time I did for the very first 48-hour or 72-hour stream that they did, as they're kind of like, hey, we're Waypoint, check us out. I came in and just watched Patrick play bad video games, which was fine, but not really for me. And then the next time that I came in, the first charity show, I brought some stuff for. I brought like two little SD kits for myself and Austin to build with the idea of like, hey, if we hit this goal, Austin and I are going to build Gunpla. And part of that was because I always wanted to do that with Austin, but also I knew that the audience would be psyched to see it and Austin would be happy to do it. So we like did that on stream and talked about model kits to an audience that some people were very knowledgeable and other people were psyched to have someone answer basic questions like where do you get these things and what tools do you need to start with and like like just little simple things. It was fun to do that. I did that a little bit with Dan Reichert during one of their extra live streams. Dan had been sent a Dragon Ball the Figure Eyes kit of Vegeta in the pod, the space pod, and so I like helped him figure that out and kind of talked through it with him as he was doing it. I gave him a bit of a tutorial on that. Uh, which was a fun introduction to the hobby and a nice way of kind of explaining the hobby with people because like um I am an enthusiastic advocate for these things, for the hobbies that I take part in. So I'm always happy to talk to people about the hobbies that I love, and be. My hope is that I am uh, that through me people can hopefully get into the hobby and I can then when people are into the hobby and obviously there are plenty of people out there and people that watch these streams that are more knowledgeable than me when it comes to these things that they can then uh, be empowered to go out there and find people who are more knowledgeable than I am and get into the hobby whichever way they want to. um, but if I can, answer questions that people have about it and encourage them to try it out, that's awesome because I really like it. But I try to be that, try to be an enthusiastic advocate about all the stuff that I'm into, right? Like, you know, my hope is that people see my tweets and they see what I'm excited about when it comes to anime. They watch the streams, they hear when I'm talking about the anime that I'm excited about. My hope is that like, look, I'm not expecting you to watch all the shows I watch, but maybe one of them will hit you and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to try that one. I watch one show every once in a while, and listening to Pat talk about these things, I'll check this out. Or I like this kind of show, and that sounds like a good one, so I'll check that out. Or Pat didn't like this show, but he had interesting things to say about it, so I'm going to try Tokyo Revengers, a show I'll talk a little bit more about in the future, I'm sure. That like I don't think is a great show, but but it's trying to do something interesting, and I respect the hell out of it. Like, so maybe that's something you'll be into. Like that's the hope anyway. Or like, there were people who are just like, "What do you mean it's a power washing simulator? What does that even mean?" Oh, okay, all right, yeah, I'll try that. Like that makes me happy that people are like, "Oh, yeah, I would like to play this game." All right, we are body complete on this kit. Is trying to build the backpack, and of course we still have the backpack and then the weapons. And this kit has some pretty dang cool weapons, so I'm excited to work on those. But we were talking about Austin Walker, and it is, I guess we should say, Austin was on a wrestling podcast today because he co-wrote a comic book. It's a two-parter, two-issue comic book that's coming out that he co-wrote about the New Day, the WWE trio, the New Day. Um, and so Austin was on the New Day podcast, which is fun because, of course, Dan Reichert is a producer of the podcast. He produces podcasts for WWE. Um, so it's kind of fun to have that exist. And Austin he's met up with a little bit with her here and there, but has certainly met Xavier Woods before. So it was cool to have like that kind of connection. Um, and one, it's fucking awesome. The podcast is really fun to listen to because uh, it is not every day that Austin can be on one, a podcast with a huge audience, and two, a podcast where everybody who's speaking is also black, which is just like a thing that is not, it is different. It's different. Uh, it hits different. You get to hear Austin like it's not a full code switch. I don't want to say because I think as Austin has become more comfortable with who Austin is, we see more of Austin in their regular podcasts. Um, but it is like it's different in a way that like I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Um, the big thing that happened in it is that Austin's co-writer had to mention to the gentleman about PAX because they had, and he said Paxomania, which is fine that he called it Paxomania because that is what the first thing, the PAX Rumble was the first name. Ooh, we're having some drop frames. Hopefully this is, looks like we're back. Okay. So we got a little blip there in the radar, but hopefully we'll be good. Of course, yes, PAX Rumble was the first name of it, and then Paxomania was the second name. Uh, and it's fine that he did not refer to it as League of Heels, which is okay. But they did. He did insist on mentioning it so that Austin could talk about many of his also known as. Um, and it's weird to know that Kofi Kingston and Big E know what it is that the thing I produced. Like they know about a thing I helped make. Uh like Xavier Woods already knew, so that's already been a weird thing. Like Xavier goes, "Hey, isn't that the same show where Dan really hurt someone by mistake?" Yes, it was like, "Yes, that's when he hurt Greg Miller." Yes. So it's just like, "Yes, they get to tell a version of that story." Uh that Dan didn't understand. Um the thing about an elbow drop is your elbow doesn't actually touch the person. You take all the fall, you take all the hurt when you do it. So when he did an elbow drop, he landed with most of his weight coming through his elbow into Greg's back because also he dropped an elbow on Greg's back, so Greg didn't know it was about to happen. The, these are not good things. And I should also stress there was a point where when I had assumed more control over League of Heels, a thing that I started doing was I started sending out emails um, that said like here are things not to do and here are things to do and talking about physicality, and if you want to get physical that's fine, but please talk to us beforehand. I can talk to you. Don't let Marks do wrestling moves. Yes, Lashbro. I was like, and then we would eventually have like indie wrestlers and I have to be like, hey, there's a whole thing here I talked about, you can ignore that. And to indie wrestlers I would say if you want to plan some spots out, um uh feel free to plan some spots out. Please just understand this is also your day off. This is your day where you can just cut promos and you don't have to be physical. So we still had like a Hurricane Rana from the stage to the floor, uh, like at the PAX Unplugged show. Uh, but those two gentlemen had worked together for a very long time and also talked through the spot beforehand, which is very different from people like I wasn't part of the conversation when various people hit Alex with kendo sticks at a giant bomb panel to promote the League of Heels show. If I had been involved in conversations, hey, Lord Crashington, I would have said, hey, you're going to be standing on a platform that is encased in metal. If you hit if you hit a kendo stick against metal, it makes a terrible, wonderfully terrible noise. It'll sound great. If you hit someone's body, the body absorbs the sound and you won't hear any noise. And you get, at best, you get a thud that's not satisfying to hear and also hurts the person. But I didn't get to give that advice because they didn't include me in the conversation. So I was trying to be in the future more active about that. Like, hey, here's the thing that people don't think about. When you hit someone with breakaway glass, they can still get cut because their head is not used to taking impact from it's plastics, breakaway plastics, sugar glass, but it still can cut you. It can still be sharp because also, um, if I'm hitting myself like this, if I'm holding a bottle like this and I clink myself like this, um, That was an amazing sentence, interesting sentence to come out. Yes, always include professionals in the conversation. Yes. Um, welcome, Jatsu. So if I have a breakaway bottle glass and I hit myself like this or down like this, I am using my head to break the glass. What you actually want to do is you want to palm it. You want to take it and you want to smash it. You want to go like this because then your hand is also using the impact of breakaway. I remember the brief period where you guys had the breakaway glass. Yeah, we had to clean it up, and eventually we just. I believe Rich Gallup spent over $100 on breakaway glass because it's expensive to get because you have to pack it very well because it breaks. Um, Dan Reichert had shaved his head the night before. Uh, I don't remember why he made that choice, but he did. And so his skin was sensitive. And also, he didn't have a lot of hair. So he got a nick on the back of his head from breakaway glass because people didn't know how to use it properly. Because some of them talked to me. And we also, we had some indie wrestlers come through. We had a gentleman in the very beginning who had done some MMA. We had some people with theater experience in our league, including some folks that had like stage combat training. So like, I wasn't worried about Samantha throwing a fake punch at Alexa. Also, a thing that happened with that, which was cool, we practiced that. How to do a stage punch, how to make it look good, how to have turn with it, which hand to use, how to stage it so it looks right. We had conversations about that because Samantha wanted to look good, but also didn't want to punch someone in the face. But yeah, Dan Dan caused an injury in that show. We had two major injuries in it. One was a complete freak accident. Of course, John Drake busted up his ankle. Um, he jumped in the air and landed wrong on it because he was, of course, celebrating that his vampire butler had won a wrestling match, a video game wrestling match. So he was jumping up and down to celebrate and just came down wrong. Um, and then, of course, Greg Miller bruised some ribs because Dan did an elbow drop on him onto his back without anyone telling him. There were independent wrestlers there dressed as monsters who were kicking um, Greg, and he was fine because they know how to stomp around and kick because they were wrestlers employed by Kaiju Big Battel, so they knew exactly what they were doing. Of course, Dan didn't because he's Dan Reichert. Um, he didn't know how that worked, which is okay most of the time. Nobody thought video game wrestling could be physically dangerous for people that aren't normally that physically active. Yeah, I mean that's definitely part of it. Is people who are not um, in certain shape to do certain things, but it does go beyond that. It comes down to a lot of it is just like um, just not knowing how to do these things, right? Like Dan, he's it. I don't want to rag on Dan, but like I knew how to take a I know how to take a super kick, especially when Dan didn't actually kick me in the face or at the face. He kicked me towards the chest. Well, I can sell that, right? Um, yeah, they practice the super kick, the super kick betrayal, where they betrayed Dan. He turns into Alex super kicking him, but Dan had to super kick me, um, and he was nowhere near my neck or my face. But you wouldn't know that unless you looked really closely because I sold it because I have experience in comedy wrestling, which is in sometimes if if mm, if independent wrestlers do comedy, that's comedy wrestling. If comedians do comedic wrestling, they are comedians doing comedy wrestling, but they are not wrestlers. So, I am not a wrestler. I have never been a wrestler. I've never proclaimed to be a wrestler. The shows I did were never wrestling shows. And I want to make that clear. League of Heels is not a wrestling show, it is a wrestling themed panel or a wrestling themed video game show. But it is not a wrestling show. And some people will argue that it is, and the League of Heels is a wrestling league. We are a comedy-ish performance group that does wrestling themed shows. And that's also what UCBW, which was the comedy wrestling show that we did, was not a wrestling show. It was, we were comedians doing a comedy performance that happened to look like wrestling. It's like a sketch show where every sketch is um, uh, wrestling themed. They probably could have used a real wrestler coming into a quick session to show them how to do these things. Yes, Lord Crashington. Look, there was talk at some point that a lot of us should go to a like a school, wrestling school for like a thing at one time, like some of the New Yorkers or the San Francisco folks. We should all like go to a thing. We had talked about that a bit. We talked about that. That was the thing. I always said like, hey, if you want to do spots, please talk to me. You know, and especially when we had some indie folks come through, like if you want to talk to Ophidian the Ouroboros or Ophidian the Cobra, depending on what or moniker he was using, if you want to talk to Ophidian, you should talk to Ophidian because Ophidian knows Ophidian is a professional wrestler. He's an indie wrestler who happens to be showing up to be in our thing. So like if you want to like pick his brain, like please do. But I always said like please use me as a resource. So I always said like, you know, like there are no folding chairs at PAX. Please do not go out and get a folding chair because there is no safe way to take a folding chair shot. It does hurt. It just hurts. You can't fake a folding chair. Like, you know, we've done a table spot because I built a table and it didn't look particularly great, but it was safe and Dan didn't get hurt on it, which was my number one concern. Like, I will work on things for you. Uh, please don't. Generally, you know, we had put a moratorium on glass because we had so much breakaway glass, then we had to clean up so much breakaway glass. It was there was a lot that went into, you know, getting these things to work, uh, and especially our bigger shows when we have like 30 performers, plus friends doing bits, plus um, you know, trying to get in. We're going to get these performers coming through. We're going to get this thing going. We're going to get this going here. Uh, and then we're also going to have like the announcers, and we're going to have like a referee maybe, or like we're going to have like merch people doing a bit, and we're going to have this coming through, and these people have a posse, and it's this whole thing. And suddenly you're like, there's like 40 people involved in this. So you don't know what everyone's going to do. So you're just trying to get in front of it and keep people safe. And then people want to go into business for themselves and like add some stuff. And it's like, okay, but just use your words, please. And then sometimes people did not want to use their words, and that's okay. Uh, but yeah, we let a bunch of people live their wrestling dreams, and that's great. And then Austin got to talk about Burn Cheese Sanders, uh, one of his many monikers, on a podcast that a lot of wrestling people listen to, and it's very strange to have them talk about that. It's very weird and very cool and very weird. And they didn't say League of Heels; they said Paxomania, which is okay, and I'm gonna be okay with that. Would I have liked them to say League of Heels? I want to say I would have liked them to say League of Heels at some point instead of Paxomania, but it's also okay because League of Heels is not gone, but it is on a long-term hiatus. So it's not like we could point them at some YouTube videos, but that's about it. And I guess I should retweet, retweet Austin's appearance on there from the League of His account and like mention how the podcast talks about it. I probably should do that. Oh, I also want to say this shield is considered a weapon because it has this like blade on it, like this bashing thing, which I think is very cool. That this shield can also be used as a weapon. I just think that's neat. Why doesn't that not want to pop in here? I just want to say that's very cool. But yeah, no. Oh, sorry. You had said that you remembered when that happened. Oh yeah, there's a lot of wrestling stuff that was very cool and very fun, and I enjoyed it very much. But it is super weird that Austin was talking about his many nicknames on uh on that podcast. Just like we always said this, right? So um At some point, he might not remember it. I will tell you this: Vince McMahon knows at some point knew that comedy people were doing a wrestling show at UCB in New York, and I know that to be a fact because um, there was a point where John Morrison had asked if he could do a bit at one of our shows. He asked Vince McMahon because John Morrison at the time was the United States champion, and when you're a belt holder, you can do less fun stuff than if you are not a belt holder. And he was like, "Yeah, hey, there's a thing in New York. Mick invited me to go because Mick Foley was doing the show. Mick at that time, he wasn't on the outs with WWE, but he wasn't like actively doing things with them. He wasn't on the Legends contract. So John Morrison asked, like, "Hey, I'm U.S. champion. Like, I know that sometimes you're not cool with this. Like, let me know." And they basically were like, "No, you can't." So, uh, so Dolph Ziggler did a bit instead of John Morrison, but John Morrison came to see the show, which is just a very weird thing. Uh, so at some point, Mick, sorry, so at some point, Vince McMahon knew about a show that I produced, and that is a weird thing to say out loud. But we had a few wrestlers come through on that. We had more of that, like I mean, we had indie wrestlers. We had indie wrestlers come through quite a bit, which was very fun. Um, that was a great time, including Bryce, one of the AEW referees, because he was a Chikara referee at the time, and we were doing a bit where Chikara had a New York show, so they invaded our show, which was very fun. So we had a few people come in and do that. The Ants, one of whom looks an awful lot like a certain AEW wrestler, who I don't want to blow up his spot there. I don't want to break kayfabe, but an Ant who under the mask looks an awful lot like a pretty laid back and cool wrestler, came in and did stuff with us and was one half the Red Ant and Silver Ant were our tag team champions for a bit, which is a nonsense thing to say. Uh, they were eventually defeated by two grandmas who fell asleep on them and therefore won the belts. All right, this is not coming together great, which sucks because this blade looks rad. This axe is incredible. This is on a grunt. This isn't a Gundam. This is a grunt kit. This grunt has a beautiful looking blade that for some reason I can't put together properly. So I'm going to try to get this together. It looks absolutely wonderful. Um, but yeah, my comedy wrestling stuff got to do quite a few things. In fact, later, breaking the thing that I had said before, because at a certain point, Dolph Ziggler stopped really caring about things. He was a champion. He was like the world heavyweight champ, or he was one of the champions, and he still did our show as a champion. He performed. It was the night of NXT. He was performing the next night, and he came in and did a thing, which was incredible. Xavier Woods was supposed to do a League of Heels show. He had done some video stuff before. He and Dan Reichert had a bit of a rivalry, and he'd done some audio stuff to help promote the shows. Um, uh, but he, okay, so I think the thing is, I have this blade on wrong. I think that's what's going on. Yes, I think I have this blade on wrong, and that's why I can't complete this. That's it. So Xavier had cut a promo, or we got the reason why. Hey, Dirty, welcome. The reason why we got the big room we got at PAX East the first time that we got the main stage at PAX was because it looked like Xavier Woods was going to do the show, and then the New Day won the tag belts, and I went, oh no! Like a couple weeks, like a month and change before, the New Day won the tag belts, and then they got booked on a European tour because they were tag champs, and they might have gotten booked either way, but them winning that belt made it very difficult, and Xavier couldn't do it, which is a real shame. Also because that was hopefully going to put butts in seats. We managed, a fine enough audience for doing that show. Uh, that was the biggest cancellation we had. The one that people always talk about is the fact that the keyboard bear didn't show up. There's a person dressed as a bear, a keytar bear, I should say. Sorry, not a keyboard. Dressed as in a bear costume that plays the keytar. Um, we had booked that person, and then they didn't show up. So then we had Pope sing the national anthem because um, we had promoted that we were going to have like Keytar Bear play the national anthem at the beginning of the thing, and then we just didn't do that because Keytar Bear didn't show up, which was very frustrating. So then we just wrote a bit where Pope, using with lyrics on his phone, sang the national anthem, uh, which still worked out good. It honestly turned out way better because it was fun and nonsense that we had Pope do that for no reason. It was better because then also we didn't have to talk to whoever was underneath that costume for Keytar Bear. But it would have been cooler if we had Woods. Like honestly, what are you gonna do? All right, we'll clean this up. Clean this all up here. And then he had to flee the country. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that was Pope was already a Canadian citizen because I believe he wore a Canadian pot leaf shirt at that show, which is why I also was funny. I said former. Yeah, that's right because I introduced him as former American uh, Eric Pope. I'm gonna put this blade on because look at this thing. Look at it. This thing fucking rules. I love this axe. It's so odd. Gotta put this on. We're gonna take the hand off, pop it open. This gun is pretty, it's pretty standard. It's got one sticker, just kind of like whatever. But dang, get this here. And we'll finish up this kit. Get the fist together right here. Yeah. But this is a fantastic. This kit came together really well. I really like this design. This kind of like somewhat inspired Zaku. That also has. Oh, also I saw some art that was placed in the Discord that somebody out there has done a painting of this to make it look like Samus. Um, uh, because the helmet is kind of Samus, like esque. Uh, and I thought that paint job looked really cool, and it was a great idea. But look at that blade. That's just rad. It was very cool. I'll put the gun there. But that is it. I'm going to take a photo because that's what we do at the end of these streams, or the end of a build. And with this, I have done it. I have now completed a kit, a mobile suit from every Gundam anime and some video games and some manga only. But I have built a kit from every Gundam. We did it in 2021 because I did something from Age, and now I've done something from G-Reco. And I'm very psyched about that because that's not like it's just a nonsense thing to be able to say. All right, so let's just get that cool blade. We'll just turn it like that so we can see how cool that blade is. And get a photo. Yeah. And then I'm going to take a photo like this. That's busy. Yeah. Gundam complete. Indeed, we did it. But can you name every Gundam like a real fan? Yeah, sure. Uh, no, I will forget the names of some Gundam series. I will forget the names of some Gundams in some shows. Also, as many, as some people really do want to say, like, the fact that I haven't watched every Gundam show. I shouldn't build a kit if I haven't watched the show. This was years ago that someone told me that, and I was just like, no, I'm building it because it looks cool. I don't have to watch it. What are you talking about? That was nonsense. I was just like, no, that's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. So you don't have to. whatever. If you like building model kits, you build a model kit. Yeah, you know what? I haven't read the Crossbone comic, and I'm going to build that Crossbone this year because the Crossbone looks incredible. Uh, it's a lot less time to do the kit than watch the show first. Indeed. Yeah, sometimes you just want to build it. Yeah, in August when the Crossbone X2 Verka comes out, I'm going to build that cool pirate thing. I haven't read the comic it is from. Someday I will. We're moving on. And 90%, 95% of watching Destiny was because of the mechs. Totally. I mean, look, boom, like, I mean, when I saw the Blitz, I was like, let me watch some clips of this Blitz in action. Very good kid. Um, you got to read all of Yu-Gi-Oh before solving the Millennium Puzzle. Well, the problem, to be fair, I have watched all of the original Yu-Gi-Oh. I've seen every episode of Yu-Gi-Oh, including season 0. Now, have I watched all of the other Yu-Gi-Oh series? No. But also the Millennium Puzzle isn't in like the one where they're on motorcycles. I have watched one season of the one where it's new characters and they go to school. And the main character might be named Jaden. I can't remember. But there's the one where they go to school and it's like an academy. Uh, School Academy, which I think is just a fun premise. I saw most of that one. Wait, no card games on motorcycles? Unfortunately, I have not watched the anime. I haven't watched that anime. I haven't watched the one 3D 5. No, it's 5D. It's better than 4D. I don't think that's why it's called 5D, but I haven't watched the one where they ride motorcycles and duel on motorcycles. I've only seen clips of that. And I also watched Tim from Crunchyroll. Shout out to Tim. I watched Tim explainer of the Yu-Gi-Oh timeline and how it's fucked up. Because there's time travel in like an alternate reality at one point. So some of these we're working on the Gundam 00. Shout outs to Andrew Heavy Duty out there who picked this up. Some of these pieces are from 2008, and some of these are from 2018 when this kit came out, because it is a Build Divers. So it is taking an old established kit from Gundam 00 and is giving us the 00 Diver, which is different. That Twitch Yu-Gi-Oh Marathon a few years back was pretty fun. Totally. So this is going to be a little different than our, in some ways, a little different. Uh, Also, it's a good indication if you ever wonder, because you can always see in the back what year these came out. If you're wondering, is this a weird modified version of a previous kit? Well, we got sheet A and B. So it's like, okay, we got A and B. And then we jump to H. So that should tell you these are all new pieces because we're jumping to H and I and J and K. So that should be a good indication this is not the same. This is 2018, so we're going to have plenty English here, which is fantastic. It's not required, certainly, but it is nice to see. You do body, head, right arm, going to go through that. You've got some color pages here, which is always fun on a kit. Oh, the thrusters. We got to build the thrusters. Oh, the thrusters are last. That's kind of interesting. They go into the backpack. So this does have the 00 does have the GN drives, and GN drives you'll normally see in the chest coming out of the back, and this one put 2 GN drives and they put them on the shoulders, which doesn't make any sense, but is cool. But Divers is like, yeah, it's like custom stuff, and it's all like VR, and I don't know a lot about it because I haven't really watched Build Gundam Build or Build Fighters or Build Divers, or Build Divers Try, um, or Build Divers Re-Rise. I have not watched any of those shows because I don't really like them. Tried them and I don't particularly love them, so I haven't really indulged. I want to check something real quick here. Great. Um, okay. So we do need to figure out colors here. We do have white, which we'll use a gray marker for. We don't have green because that was from the previous, so we will kind of just pull my keyboard out a little bit here so I can edit this, because we gotta figure out our marker colors. So white, we'll still use gray. We have some red in here, so we'll use red for the we'll use black for the red pieces. So we're just gonna hit red. Oops. Yep, red. We'll use black, and then we've got a blue, which will also use black. Yeah, and we'll just do that, and then there's a little bit of gold, which we'll use black on as well, and there's some green, which we won't use anything on because it is um, clear, so we won't use that. But yeah, so then blue, we'll also use the black marker on. And honestly, that's just kind of my particular feeling on it. That well, the red we should use brown on because I do prefer that. Um, that yeah, there are certain colors that I really like the black marker on. White. Some people use black on the white pieces. I think gray actually looks better because the black is almost too like comic booky, like cell shading, and I think the gray actually just works better with it. Um, and then red, some people use black for. I like using brown on that. One, because I don't really use the marker for anything, and two, I think it just like it I don't know. I think just think it works well with bringing out the color. Some people use brown on gold and yellow, and I don't think that looks good. I think it makes it look kind of like rust on there. That's just my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinions on these things. You use the markers the way you would like to use them. A41. There's a lot of pieces on A. But we're going to get started here. Again, thank you very much to Andrew, who I do not believe is here in chat. But Andrew picked this up off my Amazon wish list for my birthday. Very kind of him. So we'll be building this. Then after this, I've got a Lego set that Harold picked up, and H-Bomb picked that up, and I'll be building that next after this. Get some Lego Dodges. We got two different Dodges from different eras, which is kind of fun. So we'll put that together. We're going to take a pause for the cause in a moment or two. I wanted to get this a little started before we got into the pause, but I'll take a pause, and I'm going to talk about some anime that came out not in the last couple days, but here are some shows that I've been watching for the past few days or few weeks, but I wasn't watching like weekly to talk about it on stream. This was kind of just me being like, oh, these are shows that I'm interested in. I'm going to get caught up on them. I'm maybe going to finish them, and that way I can talk about them on stream a little bit ahead of Wednesday, kind of finishing some stuff off. Because there are stuff that, like, at least the first one, like, I don't want to talk about this every week. Like, maybe I will start doing it, but I'm like, I kind of just want to watch this on my own time. Maybe I won't watch it the day the new episode comes out. You know, I'll let a couple slide and I'll get caught up, that kind of thing. Or there was one show that I was watching weekly, and I was just like, this sucks. And I went and finished it, but I was like, I don't want to watch this every Sunday. This is left a bad taste in my mouth, so we'll talk about that ahead of the Wednesday stream, which is going to be talking about anime at 9 p.m. Eastern, the usual Wednesday stream, but it's, it's the anime stream. I'm excited for it. It'll be cool. If you're excited, if you want to get excited about the new stuff, which is actually honestly starting on Thursday. Thursday is when, let's see, what new shows are coming out on Thursday that I'm going to watch. So there might be a couple other ones, but these are the new shows coming out on Thursday that I'm going to check out, which is Peach Boy Riverside and Scarlet Nexus. Now, did 2 episodes of Scarlet Nexus already come out on YouTube from Funimation? Yes. Did I watch those? No. I will watch the first one on Funimation just so I can start fresh. Peach Boy Riverside could be cool, but also could be not fun. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. The premise sounds kind of cool, but there's this thing about the Peach Boy element of it that I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. There's kind of this like bloodlust, dark eyes energy. Like, oh, I'm a cute person. Oh, my switch has been flipped, and now I'm a murderer. And it's just like, oh, okay. I hope that's cool and not just edgelordy. But I'm gonna try it. I don't know. There's a few other things that are coming that are starting up this weekend, but that was the one that I was like, oh, that's the one I'm interested in most in. Scarlet Nexus, I'm like, meh, about, and then like Scarlet Nexus, just like the video game sounds fun, and everyone's talking about how anime it is, and they're because they wrote the video game and the anime at like the same time. So if the video game's very anime, it could end up being that the anime itself is very like one note and not particularly great because um, of how the anime is like, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the video game is so, if the video game is like, oh, it's very very anime, that could mean that the anime itself is just like a bunch of tropes and maybe not that great. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe you can get away with, and you take control of the character and you do cool stuff with like telekinesis, and then you jump into the watching the anime and you're like, this is a boring thing about people who are clearly about to be betrayed at some point by folks that are very much evil, that are set up like they're good people and are very clearly not good people. So I don't know. This is very obvious. It's just like, yeah, I feel like this is bad. This is gonna turn. I'm gonna go, yeah, duh, no, duh. Who knows though? So I'm at least gonna give that a shot. I get new isekai this weekend. Get my new isekai is Remake Our Life and How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom are both coming out this weekend. And My Next Life is a Villainous, All Routes Lead to Doom X, which is the second season. Uh, that all comes out Friday and Saturday. So I got season 2 and then 2 new. So Remake Our Life, I guess, isn't an isekai. It's not an isekai. It's not an isekai. It's a time travel show. Because he's not going to a different world. It's going to a different time. It's the same world, different time. It is the classic. Um, I have regrets. I wish I could go back and do it differently. Oh wow, I woke up and I went back and I'm doing it differently. But instead of like I'm going to save this person like Tokyo Revengers, it's I'm going to go to art school. I think that's what it is. I think it's just the dude who's like I'm going to art school. I'm going to live my dream, which is cool. Good on you, man, but I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. I hope it's fun, but the premise is strong, and I like the art of it. So I'm going to definitely give that a shot because it could be good. All right, I'm going to put these pieces on. We'll panel line this when I get done with the boss of the cause. Um, then that seems less epic than Tokyo Revengers, but I'm sure it can be good. Yeah, Jatsu, it's definitely like a slice of life kind of comedy thing. It's definitely been done before. The I'm gonna redo my life. It's not the drama of Tokyo Revengers and like the mystery kind of thing of like who is what I have limited information. What else can I do? Whereas this is kind of like, hey, maybe I don't, like, oh, my life is going to be different now because like I worked for this company and then it failed, and what do I have to show for myself, or what do I, and then it's like, oh, this is the path I could have taken. Now I'm taking it. Hell yeah, kind of interesting. As I said, I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but it is coming out, and I will give it at least a couple episodes. I try to give everything that's at least interesting. For me, I just felt sad once Gintama ended. That thing was probably my favorite show of all time, and I still can't really describe it. Yeah, Gintama, like, I missed the boat on Gintama because it came out when I was in a break from anime, and I feel like it is a show where you had to be there because it's like it is somewhat impenetrable. It's very fucking good in what it does, but if you go into it as just a comedy, uh, so Boom, they put out the finale and then they put out the semi-finale, uh, which was like the prequel to the finale to promote the finale, but it did end. Um, Gintama is tough because if you just show people the action scenes, they're gonna like, oh, this is a fucking badass samurai with future shit. This is like cool. It's like aliens, but also like samurai, like and sword fighting, and you're like, yeah, it's not always that though. Sometimes it's self parody and also parody of anime, and it's self aware and it's goofy and sometimes just like like not great but good. Yeah, yes. And so some people are like, I like the action, and then there's just too much not action, and other people are like, I watch the action. I don't need Gintama to be a. I don't want them to be badasses. I like the part where it's like making anime references and it's the character interactions and it's the like, oh, I got you threw a bunch of daggers and you hit me and now I'm bleeding out of my face. Your cool thing just really fucked with me. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think honestly, what it comes down to is if you saw the comedy bits of Gintama and you're like, I'm gonna watch that. Um, that's way different than if you saw the action parts of it and you were like, I'm gonna watch that. Because I think like one and you're like, oh, and they also do action, and the other is there's a lot of not action, and I just think that like it's such a strange show, and the fact that it existed for so long is kind of incredible. But yeah, I agree with you that that's a hard one. Anyway, we got to take a pause for the cause. Um, I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel. If you'd like to, you're under no obligation to do so, of course, but I would love it if you would consider it. If you are currently a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the moat in the chat. Let the people know you are a subscriber. I am in the beta right now for follower emotes. I can have custom emotes um, for followers and not just for subscribers. I have not engaged with that because I kind of like the fact that you got to be a subscriber to have my cool emotes. I don't know. I just think that's neat. Anyway, becoming a subscriber is a great way to support what I do. $5 a month, you get your Twitch gaming token. If you have Prime, Amazon Prime, link with your Twitch, you get that token. Um, you get some fun emotes. You don't see ads when you join the stream. If I did mid-roll ads, you wouldn't see those. I don't do mid-roll ads. I just do an ad before. I do like a 1 minute ad break before, but you won't see ads. And you'll know that I'm like doing some fun stuff here, and you're helping me do that, and I appreciate it very much. That's one way to support what I do. If you would like, you could also join my Patreon. I wouldn't do it until July 1st. I think that would be weird to join it now. Instead, I would join on July 1st. But you could also join my Patreon. Oh, I should say before I talk about Patreon, um, thank you to everybody that has gifted subs. Gifting subs is a great way to support what I do. You can help out someone in the community. If you've been gifted a sub, you can convert that to a regular subscription, and they won't charge you until your gift sub has expired, which is nice. So that is the thing you could do if you would like to. Also, bits and coins, always appreciate it. And of course, next month, the Thursday stream, which will be July 1st, it will revert over, and we'll have the different leaderboards. My Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. $1, $3, $5, $10 tiers. Another way to support me that is outside of the Twitch ecosystem. There are different rewards for different tiers. You can take a look at that. And I said, don't join it today, but if you're interested in joining, you could join, in July. And I would appreciate that. If you're new here or you just tuned in, I'm talking about ways you can support the channel. I do this at every stream at the middle, and then we'll get back into model kit building. This is going to take another couple minutes, so we'll get back into the Gundam 00 Diver in just a moment or two, but I do like to do my ad reads. I have a YouTube. What's up, YouTube? If you're watching this later on YouTube, you can find all the links I'm talking about in the show description of the YouTube video. But I have a youtube.com/PatBear. You can join there. Subscribe for free or become a member. You get one video early per week. So you could do that if you wanted to. And thank you to the few people that have done that. Direct donations. If you want to support me, but not monthly, and you want to do a one-time thing, I have some options to do that. If you do Coffee or Streamlabs, it will appear here in the overlay, and I can thank you. If you do PayPal, it just goes directly to me. Everything that comes to me goes into a fund, along with my YouTube ad revenue from AdSense, my Patreon, and my Twitch all go into a fund to continue to buy model kits, along with direct donations like this. I should change that to links that benefit me instead of link, but will I change that right now? I will. I don't know how long it said here are some links that benefit me. I don't know how long I've had that typo. No one has called me out on that typo, which is fine. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. So the kit I'm building right now, the Gundam 00 Diver, was bought off my Amazon wish list because I have an Amazon wish list. If you buy something from that wish list, it comes to me in the mail. I shoot a video about that because you can leave a note, and if you don't leave a note, I'll just say you're anonymous, and that's fine. But I'll shoot a video just about the kit that you purchased, and then it jumps the queue. I've got other things to build, but I'm not doing that because I've got right now two things from my Amazon wish list to build. Um, I've got Lego sets. I've got high grades. I've got master grades. I just put in Garma Zabi's mobile suit, which is just a variation of the Zaku 2, but it's like red and black and pretty cool. I just put that on the wish list, and also the high grade from 2001. It's a 2001 high grade of the RGM 79GM because I don't think I've ever built that kit before. Don't think I've ever built the 7.9, so let's do it. Um, but yeah, I got high grades, I got Lego sets, I got inexpensive kits, expensive kits, um, all kinds of different things. I've got some gear at the bottom because gear is helpful, and sometimes people don't know what to buy, so I include that. If you buy something as that, I'll shoot a video and then I'll build it on stream. Also, alternatively, if you don't want to go through Amazon, and I get that, I understand that, you can go to USA Gundam Store. USA Gundam Store is another way to that. Now, instead of a wish list, you just buy a gift card there. They send you an email with the code, then you DM me on Twitter because my DMs are open with that gift card code, and then I will build. Then it'll come to I'll buy something and build it just like you had bought something off my Amazon wish list. Ooh, we are dropping some frames and having a connection issue. If you're watching this later on YouTube, you are not dealing with this right now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to pop back up with regular okay stuff. But right now, oop, nope, I have disconnected. I have disconnected. I am keeping myself plugged in on here as we wait to see. Uh, Hopefully. Oh, are we reconnected? Am I reconnected? It looks like I've reconnected, but I'm refreshing. It looks like I reconnected. I'm gonna press refresh into the chat, and hopefully people welcome back. Yes, folks, sorry. The stream completely died there and then reconnected and seems to be working fine. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, or the VOD, well, if you're watching the VOD, it stopped and started again. If you're watching this on YouTube, sorry about that. But yes, hopefully people will come back. Um, I was, I'm doing my ad reads and I'll get back to building. I'm going to got disconnected, but I'm back. Just tweeting that out. That I got disconnected, but I'm back. So hopefully we'll get some people that will check that. But yeah, sorry about that, everybody. I hope we'll let people. Hopefully they'll refresh the page and they'll come back, or they'll see the chat has continued and they'll come back in. Real quick, couple video things I'd like you to watch. Pat Bear's Anime Club. I said I have a new one. I'm recording a new one on Wednesday. The previous Pat Bear's Anime Club was about some queer anime that you could check out if you wanted to celebrate Pride. You could check out these queer shows, and they are not just gay and lesbian scenarios, which was my last queer video. I realized after the fact, ooh, I didn't mix this up. There are many other colors of the rainbow, and so I made sure to include that. And then also, Bear With Me is an ongoing video series I do where I react to things in the moment. I'll have a new one up on Wednesday, but this previous one, oh boy, this previous one, just somebody did some mods to a fan, and I had a reaction to it of kind of terror and me thinking this was not going to go well. It was fun, but yeah, that Bear With Me is pretty good, so check that out. And then I'm gonna drink a little water, and we'll get back to building in just a moment. And I'm gonna talk about a few anime shows that I watched in the that I watched kind of this season, and I haven't really talked about. I think I started talking about one of them weekly, and then realized I didn't want to talk about it because it's hard to talk about. Let's see. Okay. Yes. So we'll go back to the overhead. Oh, I didn't talk about this real briefly. We'll get back to building in just a moment. Pat Bear's Anime Club, yelling about the shows we love. I recorded in advance. It is on Friday the 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/PAX2, part of the PAX Online, PAX East Online, the one that is not in person, the one that's online. I am part of that. Um, and I think it's going to turn out real good. My guests are Ian and Heather from Loading Ready Run, and they are knowledgeable and great, and they recommended stuff. I knew what some of the things were that were being recommended, and then uh, some of them I had never heard of, which is fucking rad, and I was psyched about that. But let's go back to this, and now to talk about anime. I'll also be hosting that in this stream if you want, if you'd rather watch it that way. Let's do some panel lining. Get our markers out here. So, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord Omega was a show. It only ran 10 episodes, which is interesting. Normally, you're getting your 12 or 13. It is rare to see a 10. But that's how they did the arc. Maybe that's how they got the show, the sequel. I didn't think it necessarily had done very well the first season. It's not too long ago that we had that. So it was kind of interesting to see that show have a sequel so soon. Um, Premise of that show is that a loner who was very good at a particular MMORPG, like incredibly good, like the best person on the server or the world, and considered like basically the equivalent of a final boss, was like beating this guy. Um, he gets summoned. Two characters in a fantasy world summon him. They tried to summon a demon or the demon lord that they could control, and instead they summoned this dude in his avatar. So he has to, he is a socially awkward guy who has to pretend to be this demon lord that he is in the body of, and figure out how to use his magic in that world and figure out what the differences are. And a lot of it's the same, some of it's different. They put an NPC in the second season that was his NPC that is interesting and kind of mixes things up. Um, and yeah, it's him solving problems and dealing with stuff and all of that. Maybe that sounds good to you. It certainly was good to me. I enjoyed those parts of the show. Here's the thing that it was hard to overlook in the first season, and is even harder to overlook in the second season, because that's what this second season we got going on here is. It's just so damn horny. And here's the thing, right? I'm not necessarily looking for that in my anime, but I also am not opposed to it. If it's like, I don't know, I want to say if it's part of the story, but there are examples of this season of shows that were so horny that I was like, no, I'm good. Um, but I think it's that thing of like, I don't mind if characters are horny because that's part of the human fucking experience, so of course. But I don't like it when shows are horny. I don't know if that makes sense, but like there's just a lot of stuff you have to like skip ahead in, and I don't want that in my anime experience where I'm like, nope, we got to jump ahead. I know the next whole scene is just gonna suck ass and not be fun. Um, and I'm sure there's some people that are just like, whatever. I wish it was more than that of that, but it's just like I don't know. And even like Crunchyroll was putting out the uncut version, like the home video version is basically coming to Crunchyroll because they already aired all of the TV version, and it's just like that's just no, like just none of that interests me. Makes me like interested in the piece. Like overall, it's just like I think the premise is strong. You know me. I like the isekai subgenre. I do like the different world anime. I like the idea of okay, how do I act like a demon lord? I have to be a demon lord. How do I present like that? How do I deal with this? Um, but it's all of the like just oh yeah, the elf has big boobs, and oh the cat girl doesn't, and oh whatever, and oh there's this thing, and okay great, and we're interested. We're adding this new character. Oh, are they going to be sexually attracted to the main character? Yes, they are for no seemingly no reason. Okay, great. Oh, and then a side thing: is this character queer? And are they a villain? Are they a queer villain? Is the only queer character in the show a villain? Cool, cool, cool. which is a side thing and nothing to do with the horniness. It's just a side thing that sucks ass. So overall, I would say you could like the show, and if you like the show, enjoy it. Have a great time. I just stopped watching it, and someday I will finish it. I will go back and finish it and fast forward through some stuff. But right now, there was just so much out this season that I wanted to get caught up on. I didn't get caught up on this. So maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll suddenly be like, you know what, I want to check out more of? Because I got nothing to watch tomorrow or Wednesday. New stuff comes out on Thursday. I'm going to be catching up on other things. Maybe I'll get caught up on this. I doubt it. I'm going to try the Pretty Boy Detective show, and I'm going to try Fairy Ranmu, I think. Maybe I won't try Fairy Ranmu, but I'm going to try to a couple shows I haven't seen anything of. So I'd rather watch those than not the Summon of Demon Lord Omega. Uh which is just, yeah, it's just in that category. There's a couple more coming out next season that are unfortunately probably going to be very similar in that there's like a premise I really like, but it's just weirdly horny in a way that I don't appreciate. Um, but yeah, so that's that show. Seven Knights Revolution Hero Successor is I hate that this is a red flag, but now it's gonna be. If it's based on a video game I haven't heard of, I don't think it's gonna be a good show. This is based on a mobile game that I believe got very popular in Korea and then became popular in Japan. Uh, and that to me is a red flag. And it sucks that that's a red flag, but it is. Because it generally means that the adaptation is going to be not great. And it isn't. This is by the book, bare bones. The action looks pretty cool. I think it's a thing where it's just like, oh, that's just like a cool game mechanic, but like in reality of like, oh, these are people that have the heroes of the past. There were heroes of the past, and you can inherit, you can succeed them. You can inherit their powers, and their ghosts help you out. And the main dude, his power is that one of his armor can change into like a grappling hook or like a harpoon or a gun, and like that's kind of neat. But throughout the course of it, you're like, hey, why does this character not know anything? Why does he not talk about his family ever? Why is he unclear, better or worse than the Dragon's Dogma anime adaptation? Well, Dirty, um, that 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 was just weird. Like that was like, let's take a character from the video game and really explore it and like kind of try to figure out what we're going to do, but without the source material. This is apparently somewhat faithful to the source material. It's just that, um, in a way, but because it's an RPG, there are a bunch of characters that are different, so they had to make up a bunch of characters. Anyway, the thing is that, when you're watching it, you're like, okay, Nemo is either hiding something or is not a human because he at one point is just like very confused about love. He's very confused about the concept of love, and it's like, and we don't know anything about him, and like there's a whole thing of like nobody's ever heard of his hero, which doesn't seem like it should exist. Everyone should know what his hero is. Why would they not know who his hero is? And you're like, why doesn't he have like a personality or like a history? What's up with this character? And so I was like, is this more amnesia bullshit? Or is he not really a human? Is he like a construct? Or is he a liar and he's hiding something? And the answer is he is lying, he is hiding something, and he is a construct. He's an artificial human. Oh, by the way, he's a bad guy, um, who abandoned the plot of the villains, and because he doesn't want to be a bad person or a bad construct, fake person, and he has joined up with the humans, and he's learning about humanity, and also, a character who is clearly evil from like the second episode because the librarian who knows everything about the heroes doesn't know anything about him. That's weird. Why wouldn't she know about that? And then she smiles at one point, and you're like, oh, you're the big bad villain of the show. And she is. And there are seemingly zero consequences for anyone ever. There are almost no consequences for any characters, and no real reason to care about them. Oh, I gotta go ahead and gotta go ahead and ban a person there. We're gonna ban that person. Great. I want to be famous, but not, you won't. You don't want me to be famous. Um, I have never watched Combatants Will Be Dispatched, but I think that title is great. So, um, I didn't watch it. I saw some clips of it. I think I don't like the person that created it. I don't like anything they've ever made. It is the creator. It is a original. I believe it is not based on a manga, but it is the creator of Konosuba and Kimono Michi, and I don't like either of those shows. And I think I don't like that person's work. But Pat, you spent money to make money, don't you know? Yes, you got to spend money to make money. You're right, Dirty. Um, but yeah, so Combatants Will Be Dispatched. I did not watch. Um, uh, I think they said something about selling Optimus Primes. Yes, I mean, you gotta sell primes to make primes. I never actually read any of those messages. I just see them and ban them as soon as possible. Um, anyway, uh, Seven Nights Revolution. None of you are gonna ever watch this show. I'm gonna tell you. The main dude, yeah, he's an evil villain, but he doesn't want to be a villain. And then some people are manipulated to fight him, but then one of them is fucking saved off screen. Like you don't even see him get saved. Some of the fighting is cool. Uh, there's no good fucking reason that the main girl, who is legitimately pretty cool, falls in love with him. There's no fucking good explanation for why she falls in love with him because he is a bland, because he is living a lie and also is not a real human. He does not act like a person and is a blank slate, which story reasons make sense. And if it's an RPG and you're playing that character, you could look at that and go, "Oh, weird. That's who I am?" Huh. But you're not playing that video game. You're watching it. So the main character of an anime is like doesn't have anything going on and is bland, and you're like, "Why did this girl fall in love with this dude?" There is nothing to this dude. Um but yeah. Uh I will give it props. There is a character with her own secrets to hide that I think is great. Uh, I think she's fantastic. There's a character who totally has like her own secrets going on. Her name is Shirley, which I think is just kind of funny. She's a vampire and she's hiding that she's a vampire. And the person that knows her secret, that is giving her blood, that she eats her, drinks her blood in order to survive. Um, it is very funny that it's not funny. It's interesting because that person's just going with the flow and kind of doesn't realize, oh, Shirley's actually in love with her. So there is a queer romance in this show, and I think that is fucking cool, and it's an interesting thing, and it is a B plot that is kind of fucking neat, but also that does not save the show from criticism that it is bad, and is just, um, it's just not a good show. It's not well done. Uh, I eventually stopped watching it, and then I went and power watched it by skipping some scenes. Oh, hey, if you're wondering, does a minor character get killed to further the plot and to make one character feel bad? Yes. Does he get any closure in that? No. No, no, he doesn't. He just gets to keep feeling bad, but he doesn't get to like make up for it or grow as a person or anything. In fact, he it fuels his hatred, which causes him to almost make mistakes because he's playing directly into the hands of the villain, who set him up like that. Yeah, very cool minor character. So a bunch of characters who should be dead don't die, but that one girl does die. She's like one of the only characters in the. There's like 3 characters in the show. Well, like 4 characters that die. One of which got introduced that died this like the same episode she got introduced, but only one character who was in multiple episodes, and we knew their name and something about them to prove a point. The point being that we should feel bad. Ugh, it's a frustrating show. Um, I think it's one of those things where like if it wasn't on a Sunday, I wouldn't have watched any episode. But because I don't have a lot of stuff to talk about on Mondays, I watched that show uh, for a while anyway, until I was finally like, you know what, I don't like this show, so I'm gonna stop watching it. Um, but yeah, yeah, if you come out on a Sunday or a Monday, you can be pretty average, and I'll watch it. Now, one show that I'm not going to talk about too much tonight, but I'll talk about on Sunday, that people are surprised that I haven't been talking about is Odd Taxi, and I'll talk more about that on Wednesday. But yeah, that's a Monday show that I wasn't watching because it never hit me. I wasn't interested in the mystery, and I wasn't interested in the characters. And I know some people really loved it. They really liked that show, but the vibe didn't hit me. I don't have a problem with anthropomorphic characters either. I wasn't sure why I didn't like it, but I didn't like it. Um, yeah, it just didn't hit me right. So I'll talk more about that on Wednesday probably. But I had some people ask me what I thought of it, and kind of what I thought of it. I wanted to like it way more than I did, and I only watched like 3 episodes. All right, I got to put more stickers on this. I got to put 8 and 9 on here. A lot of stickers for this kit. Not a whole lot, but definitely more than I was originally expecting. Hmm. All right. I'm not really. This doesn't do a great job explaining where this sticker goes, so I'm gonna do the old make this bigger. Oh, it's just a shadow. So that these are basically like sideburns. I'm putting like sideburns on this kit. That's weird. Okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, now I see where it is. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I gotta put these stickers here on the side, kind of like they're sideburns. Odd. Probably just going to be shadows because I'm going to. It isn't just to cover up the fact that this is supposed to be gray, but they didn't build it gray. Anyway, the third anime I'm going to talk about tonight is Joran, the Princess of Snow and Blood, and I wasn't watching this weekly, but then a few of my friends were like, "Hey, Pat, I think you'll really like this. This is a great action show. It's like, what if the Crow put samurai?" And it's a revenge story. And I was like, okay, um, I don't think this show is great, and it's complete. Okay, I'll say this: I think the action is beautiful. Um, I think the story is kind of interesting. Like it's more than just a revenge story, and it's the minor characters that tell the story. But I will tell you this: um, there are moments that are completely heartbreaking, and I'm not opposed to heartbreaking, sad, tender moments. But there are a few that are just like gut wrenching, and you're just like, oh. And also, it's completely unsatisfying. It is. It has such a horrendously unsatisfying conclusion to the story that is just ridiculous, like just unbelievably not fun or cool or interesting or good or well done. It is such a cop out of a finale that I was kind of fucking pissed off when I completed it. Like that's how you end this fucking thing? Really? Like there's a whole episode that's a flashback to justify a huge move that happened. I remember somebody commented, so this episode ends where the last episode ended because it was all a flashback with no new information. And it's like, yep, they don't know what they're doing. It's very clear. They didn't. It's a really disappointing show. I wanted it to be great because I think it looks really cool and the story was engaging. I was happy with it. But I honestly just think that it was it. There'll be some really good AMVs of it. There'll be some great clips on YouTube in a couple of years if someone will discover the show and like make a cool music video thing for it. And you'll be like, "Oh, the art is so cool, and it's such a cool fight scenes," and you won't have to know that it isn't good. It is very not good, and it's a bummer. But yeah, and I was not watching that weekly because there was a lot. It was coming out when there was a lot of shows for me to watch, and I had picked my shows that I was going to hang out, check out, and with the thought that I would come back to it. But overall, it is it was not. I don't think it was worth it. I honestly don't think it was worth watching. I'm kind of mad that I gave it time and got caught up on it. And there are more shows that I will talk about on Wednesday, I should say, because Wednesday is going to be my Fat Bear's Anime Club live show where I'm going to talk about all the shows that I watched this season and then the ones I didn't watch, maybe some reasons why. Um, and then I will be talking about the summer season because the summer season is literally starting on Thursday. And of course, some people have already started the summer season because they watched Scarlet Nexus on YouTube because Funimation, when the video game came out, they put the episodes out, basically to like hopefully entice people via the video game. Like people are going to be talking about it. Like, oh, okay, well then here's the anime, here's the first episode. Maybe you'll want to keep watching, which is I think a fine reason to do that or a fine justification, but I think it's going to be a better video game experience than anime experience. I guess. My guess is I will watch this first episode, and then that might be the last time I watch. I might not watch anything beyond it. Maybe it will. Maybe I will watch it, and I will be like, "Oh, holy shit, this is great! I'm so glad I'm watching Scarlet Nexus." But I have my doubts. Right. Okay. There. A lot of stickers on this kit. Last kit only had a few. This one's got a plenty. Fine. All out. We'll get them all on. What are y'all watching? Anybody watching any anime? Watching any TV? Any YouTube content? Um, Let me know. We got a few minutes left in the stream. Let me know what you're engaging in, what you're hanging out, what you're watching. Watching any old content? Uh, um, I haven't been watching anybody new. I've been watching uh, old content from Aging Wheels, who is a YouTuber that has a lot of weird old nonsense cars, particularly old imports, and then also smart cars, like very odd smart cars that are just very strange, uh, which I've never been interested in, but I do like uh, Aging Wheels talking about them. Uh, never ride in them, but it's kind of cool. Um, oh, you finished. Bear not finished the final Odd Taxi today. Yeah, like I said, Odd Taxi is a show that I wish I liked. I really do wish that I connected with it. Oh, here it is. That's what I need. Ooh, some tiny clear pieces. This will be a fun way to finish off a stream. Is tiny clear pieces that have to go into this head. K2 and 3. All right, let's do 2 first. Really tiny clear pieces. 2, 3. Rough way to end the stream. But yeah, I wish that show clicked with me. I didn't find a character in the first episode that I wanted to see more of. And I know it's a mystery and it's a slice of life, and you want to give it time to have all the characters like set stuff up. But yeah, it just didn't hit me. I wanted it to. So, all right, we're putting little green pieces here in the head, very small. I've been watching Dynamite and Dark Elevation. I fell behind because of the whole Friday, Saturday scheduling stuff. Oh, so last week I was watching some AEW. Yeah, I haven't seen Elevation since I think like the second Elevation. I really fell off. I mean, kind of been falling off wrestling in general. I've kind of just hit spots and matches and not shows. It's been a long time since I watched a whole episode. I've been catching up on the 300-year witch anime. Just got to the part where she kabedoned the demon lord. Oh yeah, dirty. I really really love I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. I think that show is very cute and very fun. It's just a light little show with a lot of great characters. Um, you've already been introduced to my favorite supporting character, who is Rosalie, the uh, the teen witch ghost, who I love to death. She is my favorite. The talking like a sailor, tough as nails, but in a pretty sailor suit. Uh, just like trapped in a house for a very long time, haunting it, and then suddenly gets to like live with cool people and hang out and like have a family. It's just like, oh, so great. Um, big fan. Big fan of that show. Just a cute show with lots of great characters. Um, all right, let's get this last K piece in, which is still stickers. Let's finish the head. You know what? Let's finish the head. There's still 3 more stickers on this goddamn kit, but we're gonna finish this head, and then we'll call it after that. But let's get the head done, and then we'll start on the arms. Next one. Really tiny stickers that I am not thrilled about putting on. I'm not gonna put a sticker on a clear piece. What am I? Oh wait, that's so weird. Okay, so this is. Let's look at that. This is like clear, and then we're gonna put a red sticker on a clear part. Weird. The Yankee Ghost is cool. Yeah, I think Ghost here. Elevation is fun, but like nobody's ever beating main roster talent. Yes, you're never gonna. If you see anybody from the main roster there, you know who's gonna win. Okay, so yeah, this is so weird, right? So look at this head here. That's a red piece. That's not red. That's a red sticker, but the piece that's going on it is clear. So we'll put it on there, but like that's weird. I also don't know how to get this. That's just like, oh, we didn't build a red piece for this, so we'll just do that. Uh, that's weird. All right, so we just do this piece clear, but we'll do it red because it's in there. Try to get this done. Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of Aging Wheels, going through his back catalog. Some fun stuff about the WeGo. It's just like, yeah, this is a smart car I've never heard of, and there's no reason for me to ever have heard of it. Uh, or just like, pretty fun. Do they sell plain gun kits that you could paint like Warhammer figures to the tabletop? Hey, it's the one I got. I love the double machines. Yes, heavy duty. Thanks so much. So this is the because it's from Gundam Build Divers. It takes the frame of the double O, but it adds some other components, as you can see, because it has the GN drives on the fucking shoulders. So Lord Crashington, as far as I know, if you want to do something where like it's plain color, like it's all white plastic, and then you paint it, you're gonna have to get garage kits. Those are gonna be like unlicensed fan creations or like weird fake third party stuff. You're not gonna find that you're not gonna find that in official kits. where it's just all plastic and you got to paint it, because that's kind of like the Bandai thing is, well, you don't have to paint. You don't even need markers. You just put them together. No glue, nothing. So like hobby kits, you're gonna like, or garage kits, or like when I built that when I built the Defiant from Deep Space Nine, um, that was all one color, and I would have had to paint it myself. Um, and we just did markers on it instead of paint because I don't have paint. And that's not something I'm going to do on stream. Um, which is still like a fun thing to do, but like I was happy to have that because it was different. But yeah, that was a kit that didn't require glue, but it does require painting. Um, and some people do sand stuff down and do their own paint, but it's not required. But yeah, heavy duty. Thank you so much for picking up this kit on my wish list. I appreciate it. This is like the main Gundam, or one of the main Gundams from Gundam Build Divers. So it is the double O with some variations. I just love the idea that instead of it being in the chest, this just has the GN drive on the shoulders as like thrusters. A silly thing, which was already a silly thing anyway. They just made a silly thing sillier. I think that's neat. Like that. Yeah. All right, we have 2 more stickers to put on, and then we can call this kit built. Um, or the head built, not the kit. Please, the kit isn't done. The head will be done with these 2 more stickers. We just got to put, again, we got to put stickers on over things. 3 and 4. So this 3. Once again, we are covering up clear plastic with stickers, which just feels weird. I mean, I know why we're doing that. We're doing that because this kit isn't identical to uh, the double O kit that this is based off of, but it is using a lot of those pieces, so it's strange choice. Anyway, so my next stream will be on Wednesday, and it will be Pat Bear's Anime Club, where I'll be talking about the anime that I really liked from the spring season and previewing the summer season, talking about the shows coming out in the summer that I'm excited about as well. Uh, and I'll be hearing from you. Hopefully, people will be chiming along about shows they watched while I talk about them. Of course, I didn't watch everything and I didn't watch every show, so there might be stuff you're like, oh, you didn't watch that? That was one of my favorite shows this season, and I'll be like, okay, I'm glad you liked it. The 007 Swords kit also has the shoulder-mounted GN drives, also a bit odd. You're right, Levitronica. I forgot about that. Because the swords thing does have that. Yeah, and it is weird. It is just a weird choice. I do enjoy that. Let's put the GN drives. I forgot about the 7 swords. Yes. Um. All right. So that is going to do it for us. I'll take a photo of this once we're done here. We are going to raid. We do end every stream with a raid. We're going to go share some love with somebody else out there who's doing some cool shit that we like out there on the internet. So I'm going to go figure out who we're going to go give a follow to in a second here. Let me just see who I'm following, doing stuff, and we'll figure out who we're going to go raid. And let's see. Okay. Well, we have not rated Mary Kish in quite some time. Mary is playing Resident Evil Village. So we are going to go give Mary a raid. Have not checked in with Mary in quite some time on a raid, but Mary Kish is great. If you don't know Mary, she's fantastic. Her community is awesome. And sometimes it's fun to watch someone else play a spooky game, knowing you don't have to play it. Oh, and Mike Mahardy is with them because this is Knievel, where the 2 of them are together while one of them plays a Resident Evil game. Resident Knievel, get it? So we're going to go give Mary a raid. Feel free to come along in this raid. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Again, my next stream is on Wednesday. We're going to talk about anime. On Thursday, I get back to building this model kit, continue on with it. I hope you all have a great night. Thanks for sticking around, especially when we got disconnected there. That was weird, but hopefully everything will be cool in the future. And I hope you're cool in the future. Thanks so much for being here. Have a great night. I'll see you on the next stream. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye.